We are an API solution. On our API, we have around 300 or more wearables integrated on our API. So if a company wants to integrate wearables because they want to customize the experience with the end user, or they want to know the behavior of the end user, or they want for big pharma, there is a lot of use cases, mainly in clinical trials or pharmacovigilance. They want to track the patient 24/7 and identify adverse events and these type of things. They only, instead of integrate all the wearables like Apple Watch, Polar, Garmin, Suunto, Huawei, Withing, Aids, all of them, and maintain those integrations, they only have to integrate my API. Very simple. They do a copy paste now in their own platform, and then we are in charge of extracting the data from the patient or the end user.
Welcome in the another episode of Game of Pharma, and today we have with us a very special guest, Marco. Marco is a CEO and founder of ROOK. He's transforming wearable data into actionable insights, and also worked with companies like Novartis and Roche. So his previous experience was with Roche as a head of medical affairs. So welcome on the show, Marco.
Okay, thank you so much, man, to having me here. I'm very excited, and yeah, very happy to share everything. But first of all, I need to tell you that really sorry about the WhatsApp and all this mess, because you sent me one message yesterday via WhatsApp, but it's crazy how many touch points you have, from different places. You have your email, Slack, WhatsApp, Vive, different places where you can, communicate today. So that's really complicated.
Right.
Right.
I think same with the data as well. Like there are multiple sources of the data, and people are confused at what is the ideal data that they can use, right? So
Exactly.
same when I look at your profile, right? Like you had an incredible career journey, right? You were the founder of three other companies like Techstars, Tampa Wave, and the other company, right? And then you had that damn incredible career journey from the clinical research to heading that medical affairs role at Roche, and now founding member of this ROOK, right? So it's a tech company, right? So it's totally different from like the clinical side of roles that you were heading in the past, right? So what motivates you in this shift, Marco?
Well, a couple of things. I think everything is related. Everything have the same roots. In the big pharma, I was working in clinical trials. So clinical trials, it's all around data, right? So you have to make sense of all this information. Once you will establish a specific protocol that you want to run, you will start to identify and extract data from patients, from the e-charts and everything. And ECRFs, you will find all this correlation in the drugs management and the adverse events, serious adverse events, all these type of things. So then you have to extract the data, you have to analyze everything, and then you will release a specific thing that you're looking for, your hypothesis, your whatever. So basically, I'm doing the same thing, even with my previous companies. My first company, I started my first company in 2003. So I was very young in the college. On those days, I had like 19 years, 20 years, more or less. And we were building an algorithm for hospitals. So my previous co-founder, again, he's my co-founder. In fact, we are founders from different companies during the last 20 years. So what we identified is that first you have to identify the problem that you want to solve. You love that problem, and then you will find the solution. So again, when I was telling you about the roots, everything is make sense of the data. You have too many touch points. Like I said at the very beginning, WhatsApp, you have iMessage, you have Slack, you have, I don't know, your email, you have LinkedIn at the same time, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, all these type of things, and you have to make sense of everything, right? So I found my passion over there. So the big pharma for me was really, really interesting. Not only because of clinical trials, but also because you have to make sense and then you analyze and then you have to receive the FDA clearance, which is the final thing, for me at least. So clinical trials in big pharma, it's a big bubble, I would say. It's beautiful, beautiful. Trying to help people with new drugs. And, it's, I love it. I love it.
When we had that initial conversation as well, I totally related with your journey as like in my college days as well. I have started a digital marketing agency for multi-specialty clinics and doctors, and then same right now also I had that experience that yeah, I want to start something new again, right? Because that entrepreneurial spirit that is inside you again and again push you to start something, do something in the healthcare. And when you totally relates with the healthcare, I think healthcare push you, yeah, because there are a lot of opportunities in the healthcare as of now, right? And uh, th- the industry gives you the chance to create the real impact in the people's life, right? So I think
Yeah.
that's the main stuff. So like looking back at your time at the Novartis and the Roche as well, right? What
Yeah.
lessons did you like carry forward into building this RookMotion and now in the Rook, right? So because I think there were also these companies also creating impact in the people's lives with the data, with the clinical, and with their new research and development, and how you are carrying forward in this your new entrepreneurial spirit.
Too many learnings over there. First of all, structure. Talking about, because I need to tackle in two ways. One is big enterprises can give you this knowledge about structure, you know, not only having an organigram and all the people, but it's structure, SOPs, instructions, help things that can help you to improve yourself. The best way to improve yourself is via having structure in your life. Do things every single time, and then you can measure it, and then you can improve it. Measure to improve. That's the first thing I learned from this big enterprise. The second and third thing is basically when you have a lot of information, you can create a lot of things. But having a lot of data can improve people's lives. That's why we started to build Rook. I saw that a lot of times in clinical trials. A lot of data, probably in one shot, doesn't make any type of sense. Then when you start to correlate the information, that's when you start to see the hypothesis coming through, and the big learnings, and trying to help people's lives. That for me was like the best thing I learned from these big companies.
Agree. I think having a structure, same in your mind, whatever you
Mhm.
are executing, I think that's the plan, right? And then this big
Yeah.
enterprise give you those chances, and also gives you the chance to learn from the top, that how from the top you are creating the impact on the bottom, right? In the people's real life, like someone who is living in the villages and the far away from the urban areas, but at the end of the day these companies are creating impact there. So how this data and their new research and all other stuff creating impact there, I think those learnings are damn whenever you create something new from your idea, right? So just Marco, just tell us a bit about RookMotion, right? What problems were you solving, and how did you set the foundation for this new baby of yours, Rook, from there?
Yeah. Well, two things. We started 8 years ago with something called RookMotion. That was our previous company, and then we built Rook. At RookMotion, before we have this big platform, we were working a lot with the fitness industry. That happened before pandemic. In RookMotion, we create a heart rate, a chest heart rate, and an arm um, heart rate monitor. So in real time in the fitness clubs, you can see the calorie burn, effort zones, and different type of things, which was very impressive because in real time you can see everything, and then you can, manage the people over there and say like, hey, Lukesh, please, you need to jump more, you need to burn more calories in real time, you need to reach more steps, whatever. That was really, really interesting. But then when the pandemic hits, everything changed, right? So fitness clubs were broke. Um, Everyone was locked in their own homes. Was horrible situation, right? And then we start to figure out the best way to use our platform. So we started to ask a lot of the end users, hey, why you are using our platform? What type of upgrades do you want to use? And a lot of them told us like, hey, I love your product. I love your heart rate, chest heart rate. But I also have an Apple Watch. I have a Whoop. I have a Polar. I have a Garmin. I have a Xiaomi. And we were, okay, that's interesting. What if we start to integrate those wearables in our own platform? And that's where we saw huge impact. We started to integrate the Apple Watch, then Polar, Garmin, at least the big brands in Latin America. And we saw a ramp up immediately, more end users using our technology. But even more important, what we identified was the mess with the data, and also trying to make sense of all this information, because it was very tough. We started to receive a lot of data from different data points, biomarkers and everything, and we saw like a huge interesting thing over there. At the same time, I was in one interesting meeting at the same time with the CEO of one big insurance company. And he told me like, hey, what you have here, my friend, it's so great. Is there any way I can integrate your platform in my own platform, because they have like a wellness platform so they can extract data from the end users and try to be more preventive rather than reactive. And he told me we were trying to integrate wearables before, and it's so difficult. It's not our core business. We need developers, we need data scientists and everything. So is there any way you can integrate your platform in my own platform? And I always said, like, as a very good entrepreneur, I said, of course, it's gonna be very easy. Of course, it's not. It's not that easy. So we saw the first touch point over there, and we were like, that's interesting. Maybe we have something here. So we started to analyze in different places, in different accelerators programs. We were through Techstars, and everyone was like, hey, you have something really interesting here. And that's how we changed the business model from being a hardware component on this platform just to be a data science company. So we make this pivot, we change everything, we change the company, we started from zero and starting to create this API. And then we have like a lot of clients trying to use this API and everything. So it was really amazing what happened. And we saw the power of data. That's when we was our aha moment. Same time, FDA started to approve wearables as medical devices. They started with the Apple Watch. Now there's a lot of wearables that are starting to receive FDA clearance. So that's the story, man.
I think damn interesting. To because what most founders lacks, right? So when I also read a lot of articles, and I'm same like I'm a podcaster, but yeah, I listen a lots of podcasts as well. So most of the founders where the lacks is they consider their startup as a baby, and they don't want to change the name, the proposition of their babies, right? And they just want that I will scale it only, right? And but sometimes some other opportunities were waiting for them, right? And I think at the right time they should be clear that this is something that is the clear proposition of whatever I am building, and there it will create more impact compared to what I was thinking, right? So when you enter into the market and then people started reaching out to you, that's where you realize the true potential of your product, right? So that's why people say is ki, don't just go for the perfect. First release it into the market and then try experimenting on anything, right? So there is one more question, Marco, that uh, as you mentioned that there was certain challenge, okay, to while integrating the data. So the question is that why is integrating wearable data such a challenge, okay? And how does Rook simplify that with a single API and webhook, as you mentioned earlier in our initial call, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I can start telling you what we do.
Mhm.
We are an API solution. On our API, we have around 300 or more wearables integrated on our API. So if a company want to integrate wearables because they want to customize the experience with the end user, or they want to know the behavior of the end user, or they want for big pharma, there is a lot of use cases, mainly in clinical trials or pharmacovigilance. They want to track the patient 24/7 and identify adverse events and these type of things. They only, instead of integrate all the wearables like Apple Watch, Polar, Garmin, Suunto, Huawei, Withing, AidSleep, all of them, and maintain those integrations, they only have to integrate my API. Very simple. They do a copy paste now in their own platform, and then we are in charge of extracting the data from the patient or the end user. And then my favorite part, which is again data, and it's we standardize, normalize, harmonize, take out duplicity. We are the only ones who clean data to be very AI ready. So if the big pharma clinical trials or post drug one is released and commercialized, they want to identify specific adverse events. The best way to do it sometimes is with the wearables data. So we are the ones who clean everything for them, and we deliver clean and structured. So now they can use it. Again, it's like AI ready. We clean so good the data, so now they can use it for a different purpose.
So with that said, Marco, I think we will move forward with the exciting rapid fire round of this podcast, okay, where I will ask you some of the questions, okay, and you will need to answer this in a one word or a phrase, okay. So one wearable you personally love using.
Uh, oh my goodness. Oh, that's really tough. It depends 100%. But I love, for example, my Whoop. I love it.
Okay.
It's the best way so I can track everything, and I do a lot of workouts. I do weights, lift weighting. So for me, Whoop is really great. But talking about the Apple Watch for me is an extension of my phone. But if I only need the data, I will take the Whoop or maybe the Aura.
Okay. And your go-to productivity hack, we just want to know.
Productivity hack. It's
Yeah.
very organized. My calendar is my best friend. I can tell you very quickly a funny story.
Yeah.
My wife also, if she wants to go with me to dinner, or we want to go to dinner, or we want to go to the beach, everything it's in the calendar. So now we know that we are going to be in a date, or we are going to the beach, or we are going to a specific restaurant, or we are going to vacations.
So if you had 30 seconds to pitch Rook to Elon Musk, okay? So what would you say to him?
We are an API solution. We enable any brand to use wearables data. Um, there is a huge potential over there. We are talking about billions of dollars outside of this data, and data is power. So we have already those data, so we can bring and help people's lives.
Yeah, I think that's a simple, crisp, and then interesting pitch. Then Elon Musk also said that. Tell me more about this.
Yeah,
Then
of
I
course.
think yeah,
That then we can go with the KPIs and the
yeah,
revenue and how much money we are raising. So yeah, definitely
yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So one health app you use on the daily basis other than yours one, right?
Well, it depends. For example, for workouts, I use Center from Chris Hemsworth. At the same time, I use in Fitbot. for weightlifting. Those are my basic tools for every day.
Okay. So to end this podcast, I just want to know your age. So what's your age, Marco? I think you look damn fit,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, I am 40.
Oh man, if you will, you look like somewhere between like 22 to 28. I
My
think this,
God, no.
yeah, this showcase your passion as well that related to the healthcare. So thank you so much, Marco, for this podcast. I think it was great fun to discussing with you a topic that is very underrated, I will say, in the healthcare industry and mostly in the life sciences industry, where the people are still focusing on the traditional methods, where this new kind of picture can help them in very short and crisp manner, right? Help in the clinical trial, help in the engagement with the patients, engagement with the KOLs. I think a
Yeah.
clear picture will define with the APIs like Rook. So thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I have a great time.
Thanks, Marco. Bye.